Well, the salmon's very good. Just needs a little salt.
It needs like all the salt in the known universe, and there's none here.
Oh, here. I carry some. I have to be really careful because I work out so hard that I drink a lot of water. One time, I almost drowned from the inside.
I've been saying for years that water is basically poison.
Have you ever been to Red Mountain Ranch? They really know how to do low sodium. They make an asparagus and leek egg white quiche. You take a bite, you die.
Oh, at Miraval, they have these portobello and lentil roll-ups. Delicious. I ate them for every meal.
And then again for dessert.
I can make pizza.
Hey everybody, welcome to Boys Watching Girls. We are just two boys watching HBO's Girls. We are your hosts. I am Joe Welke.
I am Vance.
And today we are talking about episode 47. This is season 5, episode 5. It is titled Queen for 2 Days. It is directed by Jesse Peretz, written by Tammy Sager or Sager. How would you pronounce this? Sagher.
I would go Sager.
That's what I was thinking too, but I don't want to step on anybody's toes. Original air date, March 20th, 2016, to an audience of 535,000 people, 0.535 million. Vance, how you feeling about this episode, bud?
There's a lot to talk about. A lot of shifting emotions that happened in this episode where I was like, very, very interesting. Like some trajectory is going one way and then it just changes immediately.
Yeah, on a dime.
Yeah.
It's like lots of twists happening.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, some of them seem like the twists don't matter and it just kind of reverts to the status quo.
Yep.
But other ones, I'm like, that's pretty big.
And I'm not sure if they're earned either.
Yeah. So Marnie is not in this episode. This is a Shoshanna, Jessa, Hannah episode. No Ray, no Elijah. This is a girls episode. So
yeah,
how do you think
minus one of the girls, but yeah.
Yeah. How do you think we should do it? I mean, all of the stories are separate.
Yeah, you pick one and we'll go with it.
I think we should go with Shoshanna first.
Interesting. Okay.
So, Shoshanna's still in Japan. We had questions about, is she still in Japan? What's going on with her? Mm-hmm. The last time we saw her, she is still in Japan, and she's working at a cat cafe. And Yoshi is there, her Japanese beau that she used to work with. And he's there on his lunch break, just, saying hi, getting lunch with her. And she is just looking the most adorable.
She's assistant manager at a cat cafe. So she goes up to the table holding a cat and she's speaking pretty good Japanese from what I can tell.
It seems like she picked up on it. I wonder how long she's been there at this point.
I'm trying to see if there's any frame. There's nothing I can tell to frame this at all.
Yeah. Because when we last saw her, it was like 6 months, right?
Yeah.
It's been at least 6 months.
She had been there for at least a couple months, at least, yeah.
So she's there with Yoshi, and the boss of the cat cafe comes up to her, and she's like, hey, you got to get this one cat down, and one of your friends is here to see you. And so you're like, who's going to be there? Yeah. And it is not one of her friends. It is A.D. Bryant, the lady who hired her for the Japanese job, then had to unfortunately fire her. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I just wanted to stop in, see how you're doing. I feel awful about what happened with us and the last job. I forget what it was called, Abigail or something.
Yeah, Abigail.
She's like, I just wanted to check in and see. And Shoshanna's like, no, I'm doing great. Like, me and Yoshi are dating. I am the assistant manager of this cat cafe. I'm loving life. And A.D. Bryant's like, cool. I'm very scared to be here. I don't know what's going on. And then Shoshanna's like, okay, I'll show you around Japan. It'll be awesome. I have off tomorrow. And A.D. Bryant's like, that'd be really nice.
There's some great lines in this scene of from A.D. Bryant. One, I don't know why she's here, because she had never been to Japan before she sent Shoshanna there.
Yeah.
Now she's there, and I don't know why. If she's there for a few days, she's like, "Oh, let me go find my former employee that I barely know and see what she's doing."
Did she have some kind of close personal connection that we didn't see? I guess.
Yeah. She says, "I understand that you'd be upset because I rammed a spiked dildo into your heart hole."
Yeah.
And then she was like, "I was just gonna sit in a McDonald's until I wasn't afraid anymore."
Yeah.
Classic, like, tourist, like, just trying to find that comfort zone.
Yeah. I mean, especially if you're going to Japan, that's a whole other time zone from New York. You're probably all over the place.
But she's Abigail, right? Isn't she the Abigail of Abigail Business?
I have no idea. I am not sure at all.
Or like she somehow is a higher ranking person. I would think that she would have.
I thought that she was like the HR person.
Maybe. You would think if she came over, there would be people at the company that would be willing to take her to do something.
Actually, you are correct. It is Abigail.
Yeah. It's like the head of a company coming over and being like, "I have nobody to hang out with or anything to do." Like,
yeah, she has a whole Japanese division. You'd figure that she would know somebody.
They would have an itinerary.
Yeah, she's got to hang out with fucking somebody that she just fired that she's like, "You probably hate me." Like, why would you do that? You know what? That's such a great point.
Why would you find her at the cat cafe and be like, "I'm sorry"? Like, no, you would go there and you would hang out with your employees and they would go out and they would have a plan for you.
Yeah, I thought that this was different when I was like, okay, she's just the HR person, the hiring and firing, but she is Abigail and this is Abigail's company. Dude, yeah, hang out with your coworkers or whatever. They'll show you around.
Yeah, Yoshi would show you around. He would have to.
Yeah.
Like, and he also is from there. I wouldn't get, like, the person who just moved there to fully show me around if I was a stranger to them, you know?
Yeah.
Like, if I knew her, sure, but...
Yeah, that's very bizarre.
Yeah. I mean, it's story-wise, but whatever. Like, when you break it down, it doesn't make much sense.
Yeah. So, Shoshanna's showing her around. She's walking around and being like, "Look, everything here is awesome." When people in Japan go full out, they go full out. They just love what they love and they show it full force. And A.D. Bryant says, it's like being in Katy Perry's vagina, which I thought was pretty funny.
Funny.
Don't know why she had to go vagina, but,
Yeah, I... Remember when Gwen Stefani had that phase where she had all her like 3 Japanese like backup dancers or whatever?
Gwen Stefani did?
Yeah.
I do not remember this.
I don't know. I don't have anything else about it, but I just remember like I can't remember songs. I just remember videos and like they would be in like VMAs and stuff. And it was just like, yeah.
Well, that's cool.
So.
Shout out Gwen Stefani if you're listening. Yeah. Doing good stuff out there. So she's really trying to sell A.D. Bryant on Japan. She takes her to one of those spas where the fish eat the dead skin off of your feet. Mm-hmm. And A.D. Bryant's like, "Oh, this is so crazy. One of these fish is just raw dogging my feet." It's nice little montage, I guess, of Japan.
Then they got to go to an onsen, which we know now.
Yeah. Yep. They're at the old nude bathhouse, and A.D. Bryant's like, "It's so nice. I'm so happy for you that you're adapting here. Like, you seem so comfortable. You used to be so, like, nervous and stuck up, and now you just seem so loose and free." And Shoshanna's like, "Yeah, this is awesome. Life is great out here. I'm dating Yoshi. I got this cool cat cafe job. It's awesome." So then we get to a dinner with Yoshi and Shoshanna and A.D. Bryant. I don't know why I just refuse to call her Abigail. Because today is the first time I knew that her name was Abigail in the show. I thought that she was just like a secretary HR person.
Yeah.
So they're at dinner, and 80 Bryant's being like, oh, you know what? This is such a good day. Shoshanna's like, yeah, this is awesome. And Yoshi's there. And he's like, yeah, Shoshana, isn't she so charming and awesome? And 80 Bryant's like, yeah, that's great. And then Yoshi says, I can't wait till we go back to my city and Shoshana can meet my grandmother and then we can lose our virginities to each other. And then everyone kind of is like, what?
Yeah, that moment was going to be, it was really interesting for a lot of reasons that didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Like, one, he would never just say that at a dinner. That's not even like in the Japanese culture. I don't believe even in American culture, you wouldn't just blurt that out to.
Yeah, that's very impolite.
And it's not like he's blurting it out to one of her friends. That is the owner of the company that he works for still. So that didn't make any sense. Two, I'm pretty sure he knows that she's not a virgin, considering the whole BDSM place they went to and his friend being like, Americans are all sluts. Like,
yeah, his friend was really hard on like, oh, she's from America. All you need to do is say, hey, and she'll fuck you.
Yeah. So like to that point, was he like asking like, hey, are you a virgin? And then, or is there like something lost in translation there? Yeah,
I don't know. But after he drops that bomb, he's like, all right, I gotta go to the bathroom. I'll be right back. So he gets up and 80 Bryant says, like, I can't believe that hunk of sexy man meat is still a virgin. She looks back at Shoshana and Shoshana is just like bawling her eyes out.
Yeah. And I was like, oh man, she really feels bad about deceiving Yoshi about being a virgin.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
But it is much more than that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And 80 Bryant's like, hey, you all right? And Shoshana's like, no, I'm great. I'm fantastic. I'm the assistant manager of the cat cafe. I love my life here in Japan, and I'm going to go meet Yoshi's grandma, and we're going to lose our virginities to each other. What could be terrible? And 80 Bryant's like, because you look like you're full on crying right now. And Shoshana is like, I'm so sad. I'm so lonely. I miss home. And if I bump into one more person and they apologize, I'm going to fucking cut somebody.
Which is all funny, all great, comes out of nowhere.
Yeah.
To a point where I'm like, what is keeping you here then?
Yeah.
You can go home.
Yes, she doesn't. You can fucking leave that cat cafe job in a fucking second. Like, it doesn't matter.
You can get a job. Like, you can hop on a plane. You had the option to go home. You could just ask Abigail right now.
Yeah.
To give you
Abigail will probably buy you a
flight
ticket.
Yeah, like, she offered you a flight back that you didn't take. Like.
Mm-hmm. Or she did take it and then she just didn't get on the plane.
If you don't get on the plane, are you able to refund? It's been so long since travel has been a thing.
Yeah, I don't think that. I mean, if you bought the ticket and you just don't show up, no call, no show, I think that they're not going to refund you your money.
But if you had insurance on the trip, you could probably like reschedule the trip. You're not going to get refunded, but you can reschedule. Anyway, she could get a flight. She could book a flight.
Point being, she can get a flight.
Like, there's like nothing tying her. I could see if she got the job. The job was great. Like, it was like what she wanted to do, but she hated being in Japan. And like, she's like, I can't leave this job where I'm raising. Like, I'm going
where
up
it's like there's
ladder.
A career at stake, and she has this lucrative, promising job, but she just hates being in Japan. And she's like, well, if I leave Japan, then I won't have this job, which is really a good opportunity. No, she's a fucking assistant manager at a cat cafe. Like, who gives a fuck?
And here's my biggest thing. She cried last episode when she had to go home. And now she's crying this episode because she's not home. It's like, there just needs to be a little more, like, the episode needs to be a little more than, hey, 80 Bryant, this place is great. And then 80 Bryant's like, oh yeah. Like, this place is kind of cool. Thanks for showing me like the awesomeness of Japan. And then being like, no, it's not cool. I hate it here now. Like,
I hate it.
Like, the whole episode was pointing a different direction.
Yeah.
So now I'm really confused what Shoshana wants and needs. Like, she didn't want to go home. She did not want to come back home in that Japan episode.
Yeah, I remember the last episode that we saw her in when she was in Japan. She was talking about how, like, yeah, you know how they say you can't run from your problems? You totally can. Maybe this is just all of her realizations, like, you actually can't run from your problems like this. And it's finally all hitting her.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I wish we could have seen a little more, right?
Yeah, of her. Maybe there's some, like, seeds of her not really enjoying Japan anymore. Because this, like, I thought that she was all on board with Japan.
Well, when she was in the cat cafe, I was like, oh, that's probably definitely a low rung for her. But then instead of, like, seeing what her day is normally like, we just see, like, the tourist attractions.
Yeah.
And not even anything really new. Like, we see the onsen again. Like, we don't even see... We see, like, some street and, like, fish eating dead skin cells, and, like, that's it. Like, and whatever, like, little food shop they're at.
Yeah, so she's now on a dime, miserable in Japan. She's bawling her eyes out. She gets up and she just dips. She's like, I gotta go. She leaves. Like, that's gonna be awkward for 80 Bryant and when Yoshi gets back. Like, what the fuck?
I would love it if Yoshi and Abigail just started hooking up, because he just is attracted to power.
Oh, God.
Because Yoshi is like, he's everybody's favorite.
Yeah, people fucking love Yoshi.
Yeah. He's a pretty guy.
Even Abigail.
He's a pretty
Abigail
man.
was like, he looks like a Asian member of One Direction or whatever.
Yeah.
So after Shoshanna leaves, crying her eyes out, we see her just kind of walking listlessly through Japan, and that's kind of where her story ends.
Yep.
You think that she's going to go back and try and get back with the soup guy?
That's a series wrap. I think that's a series wrap on Shoshanna.
She's just trapped in Japan for the rest of her life.
They just show her walk away.
Just never hear from her again.
She's always been walking.
It'd be hilarious. There's a season and a half left of this show, and she's
the Death Note. She's the Death Note one. Just walking, never to be found.
Oh, that's so fucking funny. If that would be the end of her,
That would be amazing. Like, if they pulled that off. So unsatisfying, but so great.
So yeah, that's Shoshanna for this episode. Now we got Jessa or Hannah. Where you think we should go, Vance?
Jessa, right?
All right.
Yes.
So we fucking get into it real hard with Jessa. First scene we see of Jessa, Adam and her are fucking hard.
Old Adam is back.
Yeah, dude. Old Adam's back in a big way, and Jessa is enabling it so hard. Old Jessa's back. Old Adam's back. They're fucking real. That's some rough stuff going on there. Jessa tells Adam that she wants him to come in her, but pretend like he's got to pull out, but he forgot to pull out.
Yeah.
Is basically the situation. And Adam's kind of like, what the fuck are you talking about? She's like, no, I'm on birth control. You can come in me, and I want you to, but just act like you forgot to pull out. And Adam's like, all right.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like a fun fantasy at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not risky at all.
And with that, I was like, okay, well, one, she's going to be pregnant soon. Two,
oh, yeah.
Remember the role play episode when Hannah wanted to role play with Adam? And he like wasn't into it because he loved her so much, or that he was past that point when they were trying to do like football. He was like the blonde wig and all that stuff. And he was kind of into it, but then not into it. It's interesting because he's back to the beginning where he doesn't like to plan his stuff. That was his biggest thing. He would just say stuff that happened when it happened, like her being a junkie teen or whatever.
Yeah, I think that his problem with the role play thing is that Hannah just couldn't keep her facts straight, and she changed up the story, and then he's like, what?
And it felt very forced too. Yeah.
Absolutely. She was definitely doing it only for him. Like, she wasn't into it.
Mm-hmm.
But Yeah, this was very weird. And then Adam just kind of goes along with it.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, Jess is like, oh, please don't come in me. Please don't come in me. And Adam's like, oh, I won't. And then he comes in her. And he's like, oh, fuck. And Jess is like, oh, no, you came in me? What am I going to tell my parents? Adam goes, what am I going to tell Coach? I'm going to lose my scholarship.
Which was hilarious. I mean,
absolutely.
So funny.
Yeah, that was a moment where I paused and I was like, I got to write that down.
Yeah, I'm happy you did.
Yeah. What am I going to tell Coach? I'm going to lose my scholarship. And then he says something else, but it wasn't as funny. But then Jess is like, that was brilliant.
Yeah, that's why it reminded me of role play, because I think they were playing like he was the jock in school, but then he was the nerdy weird kid. She was making him like flip flop back and forth. Yeah.
You ever done any role play, Vance? You ever do any weird stuff like this?
I'm not much for the role play.
Or have anyone like request it or suggest it or something?
Yeah, I've been married and with the same person for a while, so I was like, I'm having to like go back through like some stuff and like think like that. No, I've been called Poppy before. I'll say that.
Oh, that's so weird.
It helps that they are not like they weren't white or anything, so that
yeah.
That would be weird.
Yeah, no, if a white girl called me Poppy, I'd be like, ooh.
And I am not Hispanic at all, so that also doesn't. Yeah.
I had a girl wear this basically the same wig that Hannah wore one time. There was like a while where I was hooking up with this British girl, and she was like very, very into like crazy shit like that. And one time she was like, I want you one day to like break into my apartment and just come and have sex with me. And I was like, can I get that in writing, please?
Yeah, I want that. Like, I want a video. Like, I need everything for that. That sounds awful.
I was like, I do not feel comfortable just, breaking into an apartment and then having my way with you. That's real dicey.
Nothing like hearing the keys jingle. Like, okay, I'm breaking in.
Yeah. Well, it was such a very forced thing. And I'm not really that much into that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because it was like, I was going to have to text her like, hey, I'm coming over.
Yeah.
I wasn't like just showing up at 3 a.m. breaking into an apartment or anything.
Yeah. Hey, people have their fantasies and their kinks and whatnot, but
yeah, man.
Yeah. I mean, I would figure you would have dated maybe a couple cosplayers.
No, I have not. I'm trying to think if there was like any kind of like costumed thing, but I don't think there ever was.
No, just like lingeries and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but
lingeries.
Like, but not
lingerie's dope.
But not,
I think I told on the podcast I was dating a girl and she wore lingerie and like nothing. She had like a trench coat on and just lingerie on underneath. And that was really hot. But then she like ruined it because she knocked at my door. She had the trench coat on. And then I opened the door and she just opened the trench coat and went, do me. And I was like, no, dude.
I can't think of anything less sexy than what you just said.
Yeah, dude. It was like in that childish, very like, do me. I was like, oof, you got to commit to the bit. If you're doing something like that, you got to commit.
Dude, that seems like something Hannah would do. I could see
absolutely
Hannah doing that 100%.
Absolutely. Yeah. So after Adam and Jessa are done banging and done with their role play, Jessa lets it be known that her sister is in town, and it's weird. And then Adam's like, you want me to meet her? And she's like, oh, yeah, I don't want you to feel obligated. And he's like, I don't feel obligated. I'd like to meet her. And then Jessa's like, okay, well, we're going to go get dinner tomorrow.
It's the worst post-sex conversation I could think of in this moment, especially after the role play. Like, hey, my sister's in town. Oh, but you don't have to go. Like, in the most vulnerable position. Like, no. Oh, I just brought that up apropos of nothing.
I would have loved if Adam was like, "Are you still in character?"
Yes, for real. Like, why? Like, I mean, just to bring that up right then.
Yeah,
it felt very manipulative. And we know Adam is like okay with going to these things.
Oh yeah, and Adam's very family oriented. Weirdly,
yeah.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, I just was like, that's not what I want to talk about immediately.
Yeah. So Adam's like, we'll go meet your sister, and then Jess is like, okay, cool, let's go meet her. Then we see them walking to go meet the sister, and Jess is explaining to Adam that Vance is already shaking his head. He's like, what the fuck? So she's like, my sister and I have had sex with this. Every time I've had sex with someone, my sister has had sex with that same person. So, except for our father. And then Adam goes, what the fuck? She goes, no, he's not related. He's not our actual father. Like, it's like a stepfather, so it's not as fucked up as it would be. But if you do end up banging her, I'm not going to be offended just because it happened all the time.
And I was waiting for the punchline to this joke, but I don't think there is one. I think this is true.
Yeah, because just as she says that, she's like, oh, there she is. And her name is Minerva?
Oh, yeah, I never caught her name, yeah.
I think it's Minerva. They just keep calling her Minnie. Mm-hmm. So I'll just keep calling her Minnie. So they see Minnie, and Jess is like, hey, what's up, Minnie? And then she gives Adam a very, very long, gropey hug. And Jess is kind of like, okay, all right, that's enough. It's my boyfriend, Adam.
Yeah, and to note, they're in a full-on relationship. She's called him boyfriend.
Jessa claims Adam as the boyfriend. So this isn't like Adam being like, what, you're not my girlfriend?
Yeah.
This is Jessa being like, no, we're official.
Yep.
Which is a big step, So they're at dinner, and Minnie's talking about like all this money that she has and all this like really pretentious bullshit.
Well, she's going through a divorce, but she was like awful in it, and she gets to stay in the house, and now she's collecting alimony, even though she has more money or something.
Yeah.
Like it's just
pretty sweet.
It's just awful person talk the whole time.
I literally wrote down Jess's sister is the worst. And then Jess is kind of like, okay, cool. By the way, I need money to go to college because I'm trying to be a therapist, and I've been studying it, and I really love it, and I really enjoy it, and I don't have any money because grandma cut me off after I went to rehab. And then Minerva's like, yeah, you should have hid your drugs better. And she's like, yeah, I know, but I could really use money to go to college, and this is like the first time I've found something that I feel like I'm good at, something that I love. And Minerva is just like, dude, no.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna give you my money.
Adam's face during this is just like, what is going? Like, it looks like he's like, oh no, this is what this conversation is about. Like being dragged to meet people, and then not realizing that there's a reason for the meetup that doesn't involve you, but shouldn't. Like, it's happening in front of you that shouldn't happen in front of you. Like, this is not a, hey, my sister's in town, I'm going to go meet up with her, bring up money immediately.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I don't think that there is food on the table.
Yeah. Like, yeah, finish the meal, catch up, how you been. I guess they were finishing that. I mean, yeah, whatever.
So yeah, Minnie's basically just like, dude, no, I'm not going to give you any of my money. And Jess is like, well, it's not really even your money. And she's like, no, dude, I'm not going to give you money. Who knows if you're going to stick with this? Like, you don't stick with anything. You have all these different interests that you just drop on a dime. I'm not going to invest in this. This is dumb as fuck. And I was like, yeah, that's a great point, Minerva. You're the smartest person in this room.
I was also like, you're an awful person, but I completely agree with you on this subject.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Everything that we've seen Jessa do, she has flaked on. Yeah. I mean, she's in and out of rehab. Mm-hmm. She's stealing from jobs. You will never let that one go.
I won't. She's trying to get pregnant with Ace. Like, what?
Yeah.
I would not trust this woman with $6.
Yeah. And she was like, I'm trying to go to school, but in a previous episode, she was like studying.
She's like, I'm trying to study. She kicked everybody out.
Yeah, I'm like
what are you studying for?
Like, she had a ton of books. A ton of books. I was like, you are in school right now, right?
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But Minerva's like, no. And then Ada, she's like, yeah, you don't even know what the fuck you're doing. You don't know what you want. You're like dumb as fuck or whatever.
She doesn't.
And then Adam's like, yeah, she doesn't.
She says, I know you, Jessa.
Oh, okay. That's the last one. Because then Adam says, no, you fucking don't.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
He's got his mouth. No, you don't. And then Minnie looks at him and she's like, oh, okay, Romeo. And he's like, no, you fucking don't know her. She is a beautiful sunflower, rainbow, genius, intelligent person. And she deserves this money. And this is really great for her. And she's dedicated to this. And it's going to be awesome. And she's going to be the best therapist there is because she's a truth teller. And you know what? Fuck it. I'll pay for your schooling. And then Jess is like, stop. Come on. Like, you don't have to. And he's like, no, fuck it. I'll pay for your schooling. I was in a bunch of these commercials and I just have this money sitting in the bank, wasting away, doing nothing. I'll pay for your schooling. It should go to something good. And then she's like, oh my God, Adam, this is so great. And then Minnie looks at them and she's like, oh my God, this worked out. It's like, why is everybody so happy?
To me, it felt like a sisterly scam. It's an emotional, like imagine this emotional scam. Okay, so you have sex with him, right? So he's on that sex high. We're gonna go meet the sister. The sister, you plead to the sister. The sister makes your girlfriend feel like shit. Then you are like in a position where you're like, you know what? Fuck the sister. I'm gonna prove to the sister that you're right by giving you the money. And then
that's such a good scam.
And then they go to the bathroom together and they're like, it worked. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's because it's like, why make Adam come to this to ask for that, knowing that, like, because you know Adam is going to want to help you because that's just in his nature. You know what I mean?
Dude, that's such a good point, and that's such a good conspiracy theory.
I mean, I know that's probably not like what it, I mean, I hope it's not what it is. I think what's going to happen is that Jessa will flake on this and Adam will be pissed off, and then that's how he finds his way back to Marnie. I was really gonna say Hannah, but I was like, oh yeah, Marnie, that's the next step.
Oh yeah, my theory, Marnie.
But yeah, it was like, this is not a good move by Adam.
No, it's definitely not.
And
like, how long have they been dating?
Not long enough to pay for her med school training, basically. Yeah. Or like
fucking no, dude. I would never do this. I'd be like, oh, you're shit out of luck. Get a job. For like, why doesn't she get a job?
I also thought it was really weird that he's like, sister who have shared multiple like sexual partners. You don't know Jessa like I do. Like, what are you talking about, man? Like, the sister obviously knows Jessa, and it's a...
Dude, you and I, Joe Welke and Vance, know Jessa better than Adam.
Yeah,
this is not a good investment.
And if it works out, and it's great, sure. But, like, the whole situation... Like, walking up to that, everything she was saying about the sister, this should have been, like, heads up before you're about to meet him. Mm-hmm. Or, like, something you say after you meet. Like, I prefer this. I'm a person who would like to meet people blind, and then find out information afterwards. Because I don't want
get the dirt.
I don't want the secondhand dirt clouding my judgment of them before. You know, I want to form my own opinion and then get the backstory and then marry those together.
See, but what the problem with that is what if you really like the person and say, like, you know, your girlfriend she hates that person. And you're like, oh, I thought that guy was really awesome. And then afterwards, they're like, yeah, well, he's a real piece of shit. And then you're like, oh, I thought he was cool. That sucks. I would rather go in knowing, like, hey, this guy's a piece of shit. So that colors me. So I can go in and be like, yeah, I'm on your side. Fuck this guy.
See, I wouldn't. I don't like that because I'm not going to get so attached on the first meeting. Like if I meet the person, they seem pretty cool, and I find out some bad stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, all right, the bad stuff is there, but I'm not already going to be antagonistic towards the person that I've never met because of something that they probably did like a year ago or a month. Like, you know what I mean? Like it just.
I wouldn't say I'd be antagonistic. But if I knew that information beforehand, I could keep them at arm's length, not to like, because if I go in blind, what if I'm like, hey, we should hang out sometime. And I'm
talking about stuff that's not, and I'm talking about stuff that's not like overly damaging, just stuff that's weird. Like, like stuff where like, even if you found out
murdered 6 people.
Yeah. It's like if you found out this information before you met them, you could be like, oh, that is a kind of a dick move, but it's not like, oh, I can't talk to this person or like to avoid. If it's like avoid this person at all costs, then sure, give me that info. But if it's like, oh man, he's got a weird thing going on with his like girlfriend or wife or something, I'm like, I don't need to go in with that info.
Yeah.
Well,
that's basically where we wrap up with Jessa. What do you think's going to happen here? You think it's going to be she's going to bail on it and then Adam's going to be pissed, or you think she's going to actually go through with it and her and Adam are a good team?
I think it's set up for her to bail on it once you find out she's pregnant.
Oh.
And I do like that we have a follow-up of Adam money with the pharma stuff.
Yeah.
Like I was like, okay, he is making money off those pharma commercials.
What's going to be funny is if she does get pregnant with Adam's kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
Adam's going to be like, and she's like, I can't go to school anymore because I'm pregnant or whatever. Adam's going to be like, yeah, fuck school. What's more important is our baby.
Yeah.
And then they're going to have the baby and it's going to be lovey-dovey.
Because they've already had talks, like Jessa's mentioned like having kids, like you said, since the first episode.
Yeah.
And then recently with
Ace.
And other scenes recently. And then,
There was like 2 or 3 episodes ago, she was mentioning that she's like, what am I going to have your baby and be in Mexico and you're dead?
Yeah. And she was talking about Ace's kid. And then Adam was also talking about when he was holding his sister's kid and talking to Laird. And he was like, are you going to have one? He's like, maybe, so it's all.
There's a lot of foreshadowing, Vance.
And it's the last thing that we have. We've had weddings for season finales. We've had babies being born. So just keep it going.
Yeah, that's a good prognostication. Jessa's going to get pregnant with Adam's baby. And so our main event of the evening is Hannah's story here. Hannah and her mom are going to a retreat, a female empowerment retreat called Spring Queening at Donnie Mahila. That's what it is.
Okay.
Donnie Mahila. And Hannah's going through the brochure and she's like, this is all a bunch of bullshit. And the mom is like, oh, come on, it'll be fun. Like, it'll be nice to, go out and get in touch with my womanhood or whatever. Hannah's not really having it. They get to the front desk to check in. Hannah walks away. She starts texting somebody. And I forget what this guy's name is, but he's in the good place as the evil blogger guy.
Yeah, his name is Brandon Scott James.
I've seen him at UCB.
Yeah,
I've seen him at UCB in LA.
Yeah.
Like a couple times at the Improv. Mm-hmm. Or was it in New York? I don't know, but he did improv musicals and he was fantastic in them.
Yeah.
And he's usually pretty fun. Like he was great in The Good Place. He's pretty great in this as well.
Yeah.
But he comes up to her. His name is Sam in this show. And he's like, oh, you can't have a phone. And Hannah's like, I'm just sending an email. And he's like, yeah, but this is supposed to, be a non-phone having place. Didn't you read the pamphlets? And yeah. Then
we need to go back to that first scene. When they're in the car driving to this place, the mom's talking about like, I don't want to I'm probably not going to get a divorce. I was just considering it maybe. And she's like, you're just going to be in a sexless marriage. And the mom's like, oh no, we're still having sex. And it's even better.
The sex has never been the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, the sex has never been the problem. Like, it's even better now.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh wow, He's he could still do that, huh?
Yeah, he's taking one for the team.
I guess. Like,
or is she taking?
It's one of those things where it's just like, oh yeah, sure, he could just like people just think like, oh, he's gay, he could just do that. As it's like someone asking me and you to just like have sex with a dude, like,
yeah,
like it wouldn't be like, oh well, all right, we're just gonna do it. I mean, granted, he's been married to her and everything, but you would think if you're not attracted to women, but I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know what to make of that situation because I don't know if they're still having sex.
That's what she says. She says they still are. It's even better. She said it's even better now.
Yeah, because I remember her saying like sex has never been the problem. It's been even better.
Yeah, even better means weird. Still happening. Yeah,
that's so weird.
If you're a gay man and married in a straight relationship, write in. Let us know how that works.
Yeah. I lived with a gay dude in college, and oh wait, no, I didn't. He didn't live there when I lived there. He was always over. Actually, I did live with a gay guy in college, but this is a different gay guy. But this dude, he had sex with women before he like realized that he was gay, and he was like, I mean, I gotta admit, like, it feels better having sex with a woman. This is his words. This isn't me saying anything. This is just what his opinion was. But he was like, I mean, it definitely feels better, but like, I'm just attracted to men.
Yeah.
So maybe Tad is just finding some way to push through his not attracted to Laureen anymore, just to, I don't know, satisfy her or satisfy himself. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that I don't know the thought
Can't
process.
fathom it, Vance.
I don't know the thought process. No.
So all the ladies they go into this big kind of conference room for orientation. They're introducing each other. Laureen is introduced. She walks right up to all these other old ladies. She's like, hey, what's up? I'm Laureen. This is my daughter, Hannah. And then there's Kathy with a C. There's Kathy with a K. And then there's Barb. And they're all just kind of standing around being like, wasn't this orientation supposed to start about 10 minutes ago? And some head of the retreat lady comes in. She's like, you know what? It was supposed to happen 10 minutes ago. And the reason why it didn't is because you're all just standing around politely wondering when's it going to happen. And you're not taking charge and you're not standing up for yourselves. And I was like, this is kind of bullshit. Like,
yeah, I was like, oh, this is one of those kind of retreats.
Yeah, like I was like, it's not bad to be polite. Like, we've all been in a place where like something takes a little longer to start, and it's like not a big. I mean, 10 minutes isn't that big of a deal.
I mean, that's our starting to record this podcast every week.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if I got fucking livid and started complaining to every manager the second everything didn't start exactly on time,
yeah,
my life would be hell. Everyone would hate me.
Yeah, the person that does that is the bad person. The person that starts complaining. I think it's I think what they're trying to do is good. I think the concept and the setup isn't as strong. Like, if it was something else, like someone would kept coming to your table and like, oh, we'll be right here in like 5 more minutes, and then just kept stalling and you never wanted to speak up, then you're like, hey, you should say something. But if you're at an orientation just standing around talking, who knows what an orientation is supposed to like.
Well, that's the one thing that Barb was like, are we in the right place?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, this is the first time that they're there. They don't know the surroundings.
Yeah.
And then this lady comes in and she's like, y'all should have spoke up and said something. It's like, is this a conference to create Karens? Like,
exactly.
I want to speak to the manager. It's been 10 minutes. Like, give 10 minutes, you know?
Yeah. Or like everyone's talking to each other to figure out if they are in the right place, and they're having their own mini orientations by introducing each other. So it's like, there's not a big like, hey, we've been waiting here for a long time. situation.
Yeah, and then when the lady's giving her big rah-rah, nobody spoke up speech, Hannah's like, well, we were late. And then the lady's like, well, now you're interrupting. I was like, so you're telling them to like stand up for themselves and blah, blah, blah. And then you just shut down Hannah immediately.
Yeah. And I'm like, all right, Hannah, you're right. I'm on your side. I also don't know why Hannah's here. I don't know why the mom
I don't know
decided.
why either. It didn't look like there was anybody of her, like her age there.
Should not be there. Should not be there at all.
Maybe it was a thing where like the mom wanted her to come because you didn't feel comfortable or whatever.
The mom would have had a great time by herself.
I know. It was so weird.
Yeah.
But what happens next is even weirder to me is they go to their bedroom. So Hannah and her mom are sharing a bed or a bedroom, not a bed. And we see Hannah just take off her pants. She's got nothing on underneath. She's Donald Ducking it, shirt on, bottomless. Like, and when I say bottomless, I mean ass out, vagina out.
This shot, I'm happy you brought this up because I highlighted it in my notes. It is the most gratuitous butt nudity shot in the show. In this show, for me, like there has been a lot of nudity.
Yeah,
this one seems the most gratuitous. Like she's like bends over, takes her underwear off, moons the camera, hops in the bed. That's it. Like
and the mom is right there.
Like the mom's in the bathroom, like brushing her teeth
she,
or something, and she's about to come out.
Yeah.
And the mom's in full pajamas. Like she's in your greatest outfit, the full button down pajamas, long pants.
Well, hers wasn't buttoned down. Hers was just like silky, like pants and a shirt, and it had some kind of floral design. There were no buttons.
There was no buttons.
But,
it's a pullover. It's a pullover shirt.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right.
If I had to, I think so. I didn't see any buttons that I remember.
The mom's not Donald Ducking it. She's not sleeping in her underwear.
Anybody do people sleep like that?
I've heard of people sleep like I don't sleep in the nude, but there's people that sleep in the nude. I don't know who sleeps bottomless,
shirt
but
on,
with
no
shirt
bottoms. On. Yeah, that was weird. That was weird to me. But what was weirder was that she's in there with her mom.
Yeah,
like I get that your mom, she wiped your butt and all that shit, but
but then she didn't wipe your butt when you were like late 20s.
Yeah,
hopefully, unless there was some type of accident.
She's got her she got her caboose and her cooch out under the. It was just so weird to me.
I just don't understand why that shot was like necessary to have. Like she could have just gotten to bed.
Yeah, she could have had underwear on.
Because the mom doesn't even bring up the fact that she's not wearing any underwear. She brings up, hey, are you going to brush your teeth before bed?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I'm just going to go hard in the morning.
Yeah.
And I would say it's probably better to brush your teeth at night than it is in the morning.
It is. I've had several dentists tell me that because I am like Hannah and I go hard in the morning. I generally don't really brush my teeth at night. That's why I'm missing 2 teeth currently.
Yeah, that's the worst way. You eat all day and then you sleep on it, as opposed to just like when you wake up, the damage is done.
Vance, look, I know.
Right.
It makes so much logical sense.
Yeah.
I just don't do it.
Right.
I also, dude, you don't need to tell me. I'm missing legitimately 2 teeth right now. I have 2 holes in my mouth. They're gone.
It's so weird. They're the front 2.
Yeah. So I just needed to highlight that.
Yeah.
Because I've also, I know people that sleep in the nude or whatever. Whenever I've done it, I always feel like naughty and like weird. It just doesn't seem right. And also if I'm like with somebody and we're both naked, I can do that. But just alone naked, psychopath.
No, psychopath is bottoms off only.
Yeah. Yes. Alone naked gives me a little bit of the willies. Bottomless, top on, psychopath.
Yeah.
This is probably like the longest scene that we've talked about.
Yeah, we haven't even gotten into the meat of the story. It's just.
So the next day they wake up, they're at the retreat, And they're doing these exercises. They're walking with their shoulders. And they're walking very loosely. And lead with your shoulders, lead with your head. And then the lady says, lead with your cunt. And then Hannah's like, ugh.
Yeah, I was like, that's aggressive.
Yeah. So then they're walking around leading with their cunt. Hannah and her mom do yoga and acro yoga. Hannah's not having fun at all. She's checking her phone. She's looking at her phone the whole time. I thought she was going to get called out in a scene, but she does not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought the mom was going to see her when she was doing like her backflip thing, but yeah.
Yeah, that was very impressive.
Yeah.
Like that the mom could do that.
Yeah.
That's really cool. Kudos to Laureen, whoever the actress was.
Have you seen her in anything else?
Not that I can
Yeah,
recall.
me neither. I have to check her IMDb. Her IMDb.
Yeah.
Her IMDb.
Yeah. I mean, she's good in this.
Yeah, yeah.
And very flexible, apparently.
Yeah.
Or flexible enough to do a back bend on someone's feet, which is very hard. Takes a lot of balance.
Mm-hmm.
So then the mom is on a hike in the wilderness, and we all know how much Hannah loves hiking. Hannah's a couple, like 30, 40 feet behind her. And the mom's like, Hannah, I can see you. We're not supposed to be near each other. This is supposed to be like we walk alone in the woods. And Hannah's like, yeah, I know. I just don't feel like doing it. It sucks. And she's in a swimsuit. And this swimsuit is atrocious.
We see her from behind. And you're just like, what is she wearing? Like, because the mom's in full, like, hiking, like, jacket, like, tights.
Yeah.
And then they just...
walking stick.
Yeah, walking stick. And then you just see Hannah, and it's just, like, all ass out. Like, all, like... And it looks like it's a two-piece, kind of, from behind.
From behind, it does, yeah.
And you're just like, what is she doing? She's like, I need to go back. I shouldn't be out here with bare legs because I'm going to get Lyme disease. And she said she brought a bikini because she thought it was going to be a pool or a spa or something. Even so, why are you wearing it on the hike?
Yes, that was going to be my exact point.
Yeah, are you thinking that you're hiking to a pool?
No, absolutely. Dude, that was the dumbest bullshit. This was just, there's some times where, you know, Hannah's naked and it's like acceptable or she's showing off her body, whatever. There's other times like the last scene where the most gratuitous ass shot, this scene where her bottom, her like bikini bottom is like half off of her butt and her crack is showing and it doesn't need to be doing it. And then she turns around and it's a one piece and it's just gross looking. Like
because it comes down in the middle. Yeah. Is it there for just comedy purposes?
I guess. I don't know, because it was just so out of place and so stupid looking.
Like, it's no way the Hannah character would think, oh, this is what I'm... Like, they wouldn't have left the room. The mom would not have let her leave the room like that.
Yeah, because the mom calls her out.
Yeah.
The mom calls her out immediately. She's like, why are you wearing that?
Yeah, it's not like, oh, we magically just showed up on this hike that we're in the middle of. So, yeah, that was another one where I was like, I'm not sure what they're going for. And then that she calls her dad here.
Yeah.
Their FaceTime.
The dad's kind of like, hey, how's it going? And Hannah's like, it sucks. I'm on a hike. And then the dad's like, so how's mom? Has she said anything about anything? And she's like, no, I don't know why you'd want to stay married to her because you're a gay man. And he's like, I don't know. Maybe, who knows? And then she's like, oh, there's a bunch of ladies coming over. I got to hang up.
Bunch of Kathys coming.
Yeah.
And that's really that.
Yeah, that's that.
I thought we'd get more from the dad here, as opposed to like it just felt like a bikini scene.
Yeah, I mean, it was there to establish that the dad really doesn't want to get a divorce, I guess.
Yeah,
but that bikini was so stupid and unnecessary and out of place. Yeah. Like, I just don't get some of this stuff.
I just feel like it could have worked, like, because we had that when she was at the beach house and like she wore the bikini and like drove and rode the bike there, and they were like, don't you want to get a coverall or anything? And she's like, no, we're in a beach town. Like, that makes sense. Yeah. Like, at least in her weird like logic. This one didn't.
Yes. And she's complaining while she's on a hike and she's like, I'm gonna get Lyme's disease. Like, you should have fucking wore something else.
Like, yeah, like,
what's your problem?
No one told you had to wear that, and you could wear the bikini underneath clothes, as most people do.
Yeah, and also it's a bad bikini. It's like it's ugly as fuck.
I will say she has better bikinis because we've seen her in other ones. Yeah,
she's definitely got better bikinis.
Yeah.
I mean, that one that she was wearing at the beach house where it was just like lime green, just a plain lime green one.
Yep.
Way better. Way better than this ugly piece of shit.
Why'd you find out this was like a famous designer's? Like,
I mean, it probably is.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
Dude, sometimes I see some of that stuff that's high fashion, quote unquote, and it is atrociously ugly.
I'll say it was set up.
West's.
I'll say it was set up for comedy just because of the way they revealed the turnaround. You know?
Yeah, but it also just doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense, yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. Like, I get that it's there for comedy, but comedy needs to make sense, you know? So anyway, Good Place guy returns. Hannah's on her phone. The Good Place guy, Sam, he steals her phone. He's like, I told you, you can't have your phone here. What the fuck are you doing? I'm taking your phone. And she's like, I'm an adult. You can't just take my phone. Give me my phone back or we are going to get in a tussle. And then some lady, I think it's the head lady that was telling them all that they're the problem.
I don't know if it's her. I looked in the thing and it just says her name is yoga instructor. Okay.
Because it looked like her, like the same lady from the beginning, right?
I thought she was older, but maybe I don't know. I wasn't 100% sure.
We'll just call her the yoga instructor for now.
It might as well be the person. She seemed to have some power when she came over.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
That's why I was thinking that.
Yeah.
But so she's the yoga instructor and she comes over and she's like, hey, Sam, what's the deal? And he's like, well, our guest here, she keeps being on her phone and you're not supposed to be on your phone. And then she's like, give her back her phone, dude. Like she can do what the fuck she wants. If she has a phone, it's obviously for something important. And then he's like, oh, excuse me. And then he gives her back her phone and he fucks off. Mm-hmm. And Hannah's complaining to the yoga instructor about Fran being like, hey, I'm trying to write this email to break up with my boyfriend because I hate being here and this place sucks, but I'd rather be here than be with him. Yeah. And I was like, wow, poor dude, Fran.
I'm like, hey, get out of this, man. I mean, just pull a plug on this thing, man. This experiment did not work. We knew it wasn't going to work. Yeah.
Fran should have never let it happen.
But I will say, I thought when we get to the end, I thought that everything that was going to happen was going to lead to her being like, oh, maybe I should settle with Fran. I thought everything was like, I thought that was the whole tie-in with the mom and this whole place and all the stuff that happens next. But
yeah,
that's not really where they land.
Yeah. So Hannah's talking to the yoga teacher about like, yeah, but I don't know if I should break up with him because everybody says he's so nice and he is really nice. And the yoga instructor says, nice is a mask angry people wear to hide their inner asshole. And Hannah's like, you know what? Yeah, you're right. I'm going to dump Fran. I'm like, okay.
And then it's like, they cut to like a crazy dance scene.
Yeah. Hannah's like feeling real empowered now.
Yeah.
She is. It's like an improvisational dance. They just play music and everyone's just kind of flailing around.
Yeah.
And Hannah's going hard on this dance, dude.
Her mom bumps into her and she's like, Mom. Her mom doesn't bump into her, but she was like kind of doing the like.
Yeah, I thought her mom was trying to like go back to back with her and dance with her. And she's like, get the fuck away from me.
So I never want to be in that place. I never want to be at a place like that.
What? Which place? The mom or the Hannah?
No, that retreat. I never want to be there.
Oh, yeah. No. That'd be rough. So yeah, Hannah's into the retreat now. She's dancing like crazy. She's at the dinner table with her mom and the Cathys and Barb and some lady named Coco. Who's Courtney, but they call her Coco. Who is a spin instructor / yoga teacher.
Yeah. She has my favorite line in this scene.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, then I'll let you take this.
Well, they're talking about, they're eating this meal and then they're just talking about like other meals they had and it's just awful small talky stuff.
Yeah. The most dull conversation.
At one point, they're just like listing things that they had and like meals, and then the Coco character goes, "I can make pizza," just randomly. And it's just the most. I love it because it just throws a random thing, and everyone just stops because there's no way to respond to that.
Yeah.
But then Hannah's
they don't even give like a polite chuckle laugh.
Yeah. And then Hannah's just like, "Hey, can we talk about this meal or whatever?" And then the lady says, "Oh, I wonder what they have for dessert." And then Hannah just flips out and leaves the table.
Yeah.
Now, my issue with this whole thing is we just saw Hannah get this information and feel really good and like let loose and dance and be like, "I'm going to embrace this retreat." And then next scene, she's just like, "I'm over it again."
See, I don't think it was that. I think it was she took meaning from her conversation with the yoga teacher, and she's now living in the moment. She's fully embracing the retreat, but she doesn't think that the other women are, or at least in her mind, they're not doing it correctly. So she's like, "I can't even be around these people. They're not taking it seriously as I am."
Well, I could agree.
That's how I took it.
I could agree with that sentiment, but I don't think a scene where they're just talking about food at lunch displays that. You know what I mean? Like, I don't. What were they talking about that actually like showed that they weren't taking? Because they were all taking it more seriously the whole time than she was.
This is how I read it. So when they were there having dinner or lunch or whatever, and they're talking about past meals that they've had at other restaurants, Hannah was trying to be like, "Well, let's be in the here and now. And like, let's take in this moment." And then the lady's like, "Well, I wonder what's up for dessert." And Hannah's like, "You're not even taking this moment seriously. You're already worried about dessert." So she can't handle it. And the other ladies are kind of like, "Well, what the fuck is your problem?"
But was the whole point to take in the here and now? Like, when was that established? That's what I'm saying. Like,
I have no idea.
Yeah, that didn't seem to be the yoga instructor's thing. She wasn't like, "Just focus on this and forget about your boyfriend." She was like, "Oh, you're better than that." Like, it wasn't a here. If that was the argument, then I would understand that frustration, but it wasn't. Nothing they were talking about was here and now, you know? So
all right. Yeah.
I just felt like it was.
That's just the way that I read it.
I just felt like it was on par with the Shoshanna being like, "I love it here. No, I hate it here." Like in 2 episodes.
Well, what kind of cancels out my theory is that Hannah walks into the like catering place and just starts eating from the bowls.
Yeah. Yeah. You're like, no, Hannah's like, and she's like just shoveling. And like, so the yoga instructor shows up there and then she's like eating some bread and then she actually spits it back out into like the thing.
Yeah, she was like, "I thought that this was bread, but I thought that I'm allergic to nuts or something."
No, she's like, "I'm allergic to bread," and like she wasn't supposed to eat bread, but it was out there. Like now it looked like it was a fat camp or something, like where they're just giving them salad only to eat. Like I was so confused. Like none of it made sense to me.
Hannah Horvath and heavyweights.
Yeah. But then I forget what the yoga instructor says here, but then they end up.
Yeah, the yoga instructor comes over and Hannah's basically like, "I don't like what's going on here. This sucks, and I hate being outdoors, and my parents definitely fucked me up way more than I realized." And then the yoga instructor's like, "Hey, let's go to the sauna. Like, let's just chill. You don't need to be here anymore. You can just come to the sauna with me, and we'll do something." And I was like, "All right, cool." So they go to the sauna, and they're doing acro yoga. Hannah's doing like, Superman airplane type thing on the lady's feet, and she's like, "Oh my god, this is so amazing." And she's like, "Yeah, don't you feel like it's like a layer coming off of you?" And then Hannah goes, "Do you mean like a layer emotionally or like a layer of fat?" It's like,
which is kind of funny because like her stomach is just like hanging there with her feet being pressed up, like with the yoga instructor's feet being pressed up. So it's like, and I was like, "Oh, they're gonna make a layer of fat joke." I was like, I know she's gonna do it. She can't not do it. Yeah.
As soon as she said layer, I was like, "Oh, here we go."
Yeah.
Strap in. Here comes a fat joke.
And I was like, let's get past the fat joke and let's get to the main event, which we all saw coming since the first time the yoga instructor showed up and stood up for her with the phone. She took
interest in her.
Yep.
Hannah falls off of the yoga lady's feet, falls between her legs, and then they're laying on top of each other, and they start smooching.
What a great rom-com meet cute. Like,
Yep.
This season is just so romantic comedy. Like, like they fall and it's like, ha 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 ha. Awkward silence, staring, lean in, kiss. Like,
I do have to commend them on Lena Dunham's lean in to kiss was so long and awkward.
yeah, and the distance didn't seem like she was ever going to cover the distance to get to that kiss.
Dude,
like,
it was so long.
I was like, there's so much. It's like when you're watching it on screen, it's like there's so much time for something to stop this from happening.
Yeah.
You know?
I was kind of expecting the yoga lady to be like, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Because it was taking so long.
Yep.
Because I thought that, like, I thought that they were going to hook up.
Yeah.
But then it was taking so long for it to happen that I thought that the yoga lady was going to be like, what are you doing?
Yeah, exactly. It got to that little point where you're like, oh, this isn't really what's happening here.
Yeah. So then they start making out, and then Hannah's like, hey, I just want you to know I've never slept with a woman before. I mean, I've done stuff. I went to Oberlin. I'm not a monster. But I've never actually slept with a woman before. And then the yoga teacher's like, well, I've never slept with a student before. And then Hannah's like, oh, you didn't need to say that. And then they go back to smooching hard.
Yeah. So one, she's not really a student of yours. Two,
No, she's not.
What a plug for Oberlin, huh?
Oh, God. So while all this is happening, the old ladies are out still at the dinner table complaining about men. Barb is talking about how her husband left her and she blames Viagra because he started taking Viagra and then he started fucking his secretary or whatever, Flavia. And then Lorraine's like, that sounds so horrible. And Barb is like, yeah, I know, what a cliche. And then another lady tells a story. I forget what her story is. Do you remember?
One was like person got divorced and then they ended up hooking up with someone and had all these vaginal orgasms, and then they came back and they ended up having all these like STDs.
Yeah, it's because I remember that one because it was like the woman had never had sex with anyone except for her husband, and then she was like, you know what, fuck it.
Yeah.
Some partner at a law firm takes her to Vegas and they have all this crazy sex, and then she gets herpes and warts and chlamydia of the throat or something. It was wild. And then Laureen's kind of looking downtrodden, hearing all this stuff. She's like, oh man, this is what single life is like. Because another story is like, yeah, I tried to make a thing on Match.com, but what am I going to meet a stranger? Like, I don't want to do that. And then Laureen's like, well, my husband turned out to be gay. And then all of the women have like zero sympathy for her. They're like, oh, I would love to have a gay husband. That sounds amazing. I wouldn't have to deal with all this man shit. And Laureen's kind of looking like, ugh, this fucking sucks.
Yeah, I mean, it's literally just this whole scene is just to like throw it onto Lorraine that she just needs to stick with her husband.
Yeah,
like,
but
it's done in a way that's like just compounding. Like everything they say has a direct relationship to it, to the point where I'm like, all right, how did you guys all just get on? Like, is everyone just here for this reason? Like,
yeah, you can still be married and have an empowerment retreat, you know?
Yeah, can't you go on a retreat? Yeah, can you not be in a relationship and go on a 2-day retreat?
Yeah, like it's just a bunch of bitter old women that are like, yeah, I need to get away from men.
Yeah,
it's like, why don't you all just fuck?
I mean, just take a note from the yoga instructor and Hannah.
Yeah, exactly. Because we smash back to them, and Hannah's face deep in some. She is muff diving, dude. She's smooching some cooch, man.
And the yoga instructor has her feet like she's in like boat pose or something, like, which seems super uncomfortable.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. That takes a lot of core strength and hip strength and mobility.
Yeah, it's a very like probably not the best way to go about doing that for someone.
Yeah, no,
like that.
So Hannah is going down on the yoga lady, And Hannah starts to be like, yeah, no, it's getting really fucking hot in here. Because, you know, in case you forgot, they're in a sauna doing this.
Yeah.
Saunas are typically like 110 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So Hannah's going between this lady's legs. And she's like, I'm feeling really hot. I need to come up for air. And the yoga lady's like, please don't. Like, just keep going. I'm almost there. And Hannah's like, no, I really don't feel like doing this. I need to stop. And then the yoga lady grabs the back of her head and she's like, no, just keep going. 30 more seconds. And Hannah's like, no. And it's like rapey as fuck.
Yeah. It's a lot going on in this that I don't even know how to.
Yeah. So Hannah.
Yeah, I don't even know how to.
I want to commend them. I want to commend them on the equality of, you know, not just dudes out here being rapey.
Yeah.
Fucking, that was assaulty as fuck and not cool. Hannah eventually gets out of her grasp. Then the yoga lady starts fingering herself and Hannah's getting dressed. And then the yoga lady eventually orgasms and immediately starts sobbing.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that right there.
I don't either.
Like, is it just like she cries when she orgasms? That's one option. Is she crying because of how fucked up the situation is that she did this with a person that was her first time and that she felt bad that she did that? And that she's having sex with like a student? And we never get any type of, and we never will. We'll never get any type of answers.
Yeah, and
unless...
it was like, was this to show that this quote unquote empowered woman too wasn't really empowered or something? Like, what was the deal with the crying?
Like, there's nothing wrong with the yoga instructor flirting. Like, I mean, granted, you probably shouldn't flirt with. I would say, like, if this was like a real school or something, and you're like an instructor and teacher power, like, you shouldn't be really preying on your students. But this is a 2-day retreat. She's probably like one of the youngest women there, right? You know, like Hannah is. And Hannah seemed to be game for it too. Like, nothing, you didn't force yourself on her. Like, she leaned in on the kiss. Like, you flirted with her and she gave it. Like, she was in. So there's no real damage done. Like, it's more for, like, it's weird that we don't see more like Hannah's reaction to having really kind of cheated on Fran and having her like real first lesbian situation. And instead of like, how does Hannah feel about it? We cut to the instructor crying afterwards. Yeah,
the instructor who seemingly has it all together is just a broken human being. That's just is like.
Well, I never thought she had it all. I never thought she had it all together. But
yeah, I mean, that was a wild fucking scene, dude. Loads to unpack. I don't know what's going on.
Was Hannah stopping just because she got too hot, or did she have a realization moment and be like, I don't want to do this anymore? Like,
here's the thing. Here's how I took it: is I think that she was too hot.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she saw how weird the yoga instructor was, then she was like, now this is really uncomfortable and I don't like it. I don't feel safe. And then she was proven right because the yoga instructor was being really uncool.
But the yoga instructor wasn't uncool until she said she was going to stop.
Yeah.
Beforehand. It wasn't like she was being weird before that. Like, I think the sex scene with Elijah and Deal Harcourt had more weirder tones before the like, hey, I want to stop, and she's not letting her stop. But like, up until that point, it doesn't seem like there was anything weird about it, except for they're in a hot ass sauna.
Yeah.
Until she stopped, and then she was like, no, I really want to finish. And like, Hannah's like, nah, I'm done. Like, but yeah. And then I'm like, what was all this for? What was
exactly.
This for? That's the biggest thing. Like, Hannah's not going to be a full-on lesbian now.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be. This could be a turning point in this series.
Didn't seem like it was.
You know what's hilarious is there are people that have watched this whole series and they are like going through and listening to this.
Yeah.
And like we predict things or we try and think of like what's going to happen next. And they know, and they're probably listening. They're like, oh, these guys don't even fucking realize what's happening next.
I mean, I think that it could be half the joy in listening to the podcast.
Yeah.
Because we're flying blind, man. We really don't know.
Yeah, Hannah could just go full lesbian after this. We have no idea.
I just don't think she will.
Cut to Hannah hooking up with all the girls now.
I didn't have Hannah and Marnie hooking up. They are the forever couple.
So Hannah goes back to her room with where her mom is, and the mom's in bed, and the mom's like, "Where were you?" And Hannah's like, "Oh, my inner queen made some bad decisions." And the mom's like, "Ha ha ha ha. I decided that I'm going to stay with your dad." And Hannah's like, "Why?" She's like, "Well, he's really nice. He's cool. He's good at Scrabble."
Yeah.
Like I enjoy being with him, and I don't want to go out and like meet all these strangers. And like, what's the best that's going to happen is I'm in love with a person for 2 years and they get Alzheimer's or prostate cancer, and then I have to change their catheter every couple of minutes, and that's just the rest of my life. She's like, I'll just stay with your dad, who is someone that I know and I've built a relationship with, as opposed to some other person.
Yeah. I mean, that logic makes sense. Also, considering that they're still having sex and still seem to like each other and still hang out, I don't know what else a relationship is.
Yeah, dude.
They're playing.
I think it's more of like an open relationship at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
if she's worried about catching diseases from him hooking up with guys, strange guys, because he obviously doesn't use a condom when he hooks up with guys.
I know. The one experience
he's had. But yeah, I mean, at that point, it's just like open up the relationship, stay with each other, and yeah. If
that's kind of what I was thinking was going to happen with their marriage,
if
is going to open it up.
Well, it has to at least open up one way.
Yeah, oh yeah,
for his side, right? And I don't know,
the mom,
and his side will be tricky because if he actually does get into a relationship with a guy that he actually likes, and that guy wants to like make it a real relationship, not just hooking up, then that's where you end up with a weird situation. I thought she might try to hook up with that guy that said he was in love with her, with the mean wife.
Yeah. When they were at that house party.
Yeah, but I don't think she actually likes that guy.
No, I don't think so either. And that's basically the episode. The end is kind of just a montage of, Shoshanna walking through Japan. And
yeah, I thought it was going to be a montage, but it was just Shoshanna walking.
Yeah, and then she walks through the entire credits because I was waiting. I watched the whole credit. I usually the credits usually go black, but like her walking through with the credits, I was like, oh, maybe something will happen later, and then nothing does.
No, that's what I'm saying. It's a wrap on Shoshanna. That was it.
She's exiting the show.
Somehow Japan is just completely empty.
Yeah. Do they have like a serious lockdown order back in 2016?
Yeah, I'm like, I feel like that's a pretty busy city she's in.
And that is the episode. That is season 5, episode 5, Queen for 2 days. But because it is mid-season, figured we want to stop and check in where the girls stand in the Vance and Joe Likeability Rankings.
We really should have like a sound for that.
Yeah, we need to have a stinger.
But we're not.
Dun. Yeah, we won't. That was it. Me going dun dun dun.
Yeah.
I did intro that really well. The Vance and Joe Likeability Rankings.
Yeah.
All right. So, out of the 4 main girls, because that's all we have to go off of really this season.
And there's 4 guys we could do too.
We can do the guys separately.
Yeah.
Should we do the guys first then?
Yeah, I guess so. I'm gonna
go bottom to top.
I'm gonna go. I I don't have strong feelings on these likability. Like, this season has been pretty standard as far as like controversial stuff goes.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking I'm gonna put Ray still at the top.
Yeah.
And then I'm gonna go Elijah.
Okay.
And then
I'm with you.
And then I'm gonna go Adam and then Fran.
Oh, Fran's beneath Adam.
It's close. It's really Fran did the paper thing, the school paper teaching thing, right? Like the teaching thing, the nudes on his phone. That it's just like he doesn't know how to lock his phone in a good way. So yeah. Adam
Really hasn't done anything offensively bad.
Yeah, he's stalkery. He's a little clingy. He called Jessa a pussy. So,
that was weird.
Yeah, so that's why he's.
But thinking about it,
but he's actually
helping.
You. But he's helping her go to school now, so that's a huge lift up. Even though I think it's a dumb decision, and he's not a good reader of people, like because he dated Mimi Rose.
Mimi Rose.
Yeah. He's like, I know Jessa. I'm a good judge of people. I dated a sociopath.
Yeah. Jessa, the girl that set you up with Mimi Rose because she wanted to fuck Ace.
Yeah. Perfect. Yep.
She's a good person. She's a beautiful fucking rainbow or whatever he said.
The person that got you arrested for peeing in the street. Got it. Check.
Yeah.
But that's old news. That's old news. That's old.
That's old news. That's not even in this season.
Not even this season. No, not at all. This season started with the wedding, I think.
Yeah.
No.
So I am in complete agreement with you on these rankings. Because the only person that's actually done anything bad is Fran. And his stuff, like in other seasons.
Did we put? I didn't mention Desi. Desi's at the bottom.
Oh, Desi's
at the bottom.
Desi,
Yeah. Sorry. So everyone is screaming.
I forgot about Desi.
Everyone is screaming at the podcast right now. Like,
I mean, everyone should know where Desi stands. We didn't even have him in the rankings. That guy's burning in hell. That guy fucking sucks.
Yeah. There's a lot of guys in this show now.
There's more guys than girls.
Yeah.
Ray, always top guy. I mean, he's the most logical, funny dude on the show. Mm-hmm. He has a lot of good points. Elijah, he's got a sweetheart now. He's sassy as fuck. Mm-hmm. He's like 1B. Ray's 1A, Elijah's 1B. Mm-hmm. Adam, he hasn't really done anything bad except for, kind of stalk Jessa and then call her a pussy. But Fran's really the only person that has an offense against him, like a charge to go at him. With the paper thing, and he had something else. Oh yeah, the nudes thing, which I don't think is necessarily that big of a thing. But the paper thing, I was like, that is really weird and stupid.
I can say if you wanted to argue that Adam hooking up with Jessa is a slight because of his former relationship with Hannah, you could give him a demerit on that. But I'm not gonna. It's been enough time. I wouldn't. I'm not knocking him down for that. Yeah.
Well, it's also like Adam tried to get back with Hannah and Hannah said no.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wish Adam would just, open it up. Like, he doesn't...
Get out of the friend circle, but it's a TV show, so everyone has to hook up with each other. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, he hasn't met anybody at one of those commercial
Natalia
auditions.
Was great. Natalia seemed normal.
Yeah.
But
that
he was not, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And then Desi, of course, just sucks. That guy sucks.
Has he been in what?
I hate that guy.
3 episodes? Like the wedding, he was awful. He was awful at the last episode with building the wall.
With the wall. And we saw his ass.
Yeah, and then we just saw his ass. And I was like,
in Ecuador.
Ecuador.
Yeah, he sucked so bad with that wall. He sucked so bad at the wedding.
Yeah.
That guy... I think he's just forever going to remain in the basement.
Yeah.
As long as in the show. Like, he stinks.
Unless he, saves someone's life or donates a kidney to Marnie's mom or something. Like, he has to do something really amazing.
But he'd do it in the most annoying way.
Well, you know what the thing that gets me about him? Is I really wanted to see him and Adam friendship when it started.
Yeah.
And they never have scenes together.
Yeah. All right, so that's the guy rankings. Now, the girls. This is where the money is, Vance.
Yeah, this is where I'm letting you take the lead.
All right, taking the lead. This is going to be very controversial. I've been thinking about this. I've been ruminating on it all day. and I think I've got my shit together here. In the basement, Marnie Michaels.
Okay.
I just can't stand her on this show anymore. She enables Desi to be a complete cock. Like she had a point with the wall to be like, you can't just do this without consulting me and blah, blah, blah. And then she flips it around on herself to be like, no, I'm the bad person. And she just allows Desi to kind of walk all over her. She pronounced Ecuador the way that she did. Huge detriment to her likability rankings.
Okay.
I mean, this isn't like who's the worst. This is, in my eyes, who's likable.
Yeah.
And she is so unlikable now to me.
Okay.
I fucking can't stand watching her. And she used to be like number 1, number 2 for me. This is a big fall. So she's in the basement for me. Number 3. And it pains me to do this. I'm going Shoshanna.
Wow. Okay.
Shoshanna's wishy-washy bullshit with Japan, leaving Scott, who is a seemingly awesome dude, great boyfriend to her.
I don't like him, but yeah, he's done nothing wrong.
Yeah, he's done nothing wrong. He's been supportive and like trying to make things better when she's like, I lost my job. And he's like, you can come back. I'll get you a job at my company. He's waiting for her at the airport with flowers. Mm-hmm. She stands him up. She cheats on him with Yoshi. She is then with Yoshi in Japan. And she's like, I'm miserable. After she's like, I don't want to leave. Now she wants to leave. Like, make up your fucking mind, dude. And lying to Yoshi about virginity.
And seeing like grandparent,
lying to 80 Bryant, then leaving them at a rest. Look, and this is big too, because Shoshanna's only been in 2 episodes in this season. 2 or I think it's 2.
3. She was in the wedding one too. It was a wedding, Japan, and
yeah. She didn't really do anything that offensive in the wedding.
The thing that I wanted to bring up with Marnie, when Marnie throws Shoshana under the bus.
Oh yeah,
about kicking Fran out. That's a demerit on that one.
Yeah, that's a big demerit. I forgot about that part. Yeah, and Marnie's kind of bridezilla-ing, and then she sucks. But yeah, so then Shoshana bails on Yoshi just out of nowhere. Like she's never going to talk to him again. She just left 80 Bryant and Yoshi at that restaurant. Like, what the fuck?
He's going to call her.
Yeah.
He's going to call her.
He's going to be like, hey, what happened?
Yeah.
In his broken English thing.
Yeah.
So Shoshana's number 3 for me. Number 2 in the 2 hole, Hannah Horvath.
Wow. Okay.
Hannah Horvath. She doesn't like Fran. And it seems like she never really gave him a chance. Like, they were dating for 6 months, but then, like, she goes at him hard and, like, is immediately like, I'm breaking up with him, fuck him. I'm like, whoa, maybe, like, hear him out. And, like, even some of the girls are like, yeah, there's just that great Marnie quote of, like, I don't even know what this is about, but I'm sure that Fran is right.
Yeah.
I think that Hannah's kind of overreacting to some things. She has points on other things. Mm-hmm. But she doesn't really do much that's overtly evil like Shoshana or Marnie does. Mm-hmm. But she's just not that likable.
Yeah. And I'll say, like, that time jump, we really just never saw their relationship form. It was just already there.
Yeah, exactly. But I can't really, there's not a lot that I can hold against her. Mm-hmm. And surprisingly, a surprise to everyone, a surprise to me, a surprise to you, Vance, a surprise to anyone listening that knows my history with this show. Mm-hmm. Number 1 in Joe Welke's likability rankings, halfway through season 5, is Jessa. Jessa hasn't really done anything awful this season.
She saved the wedding.
That I can think of.
She saved the wedding.
She saved the wedding. she found a passion. She's like trying really earnestly to study to be a therapist.
Yeah, she's studying like she has classes already somehow. Yeah.
She is going to AA meetings.
Mm-hmm.
She's trying to be a good friend to Hannah and not hook up with her boyfriend or ex-boyfriend.
Yeah.
She eventually does, but she's like trying to keep it a secret, I guess.
Well, we don't even know. I guess it's still a secret, but it's not like I don't know like what. I know Hannah doesn't know yet because otherwise that's all she would talk about. But
yeah, I think it's just like they haven't hung out in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then she is really earnestly trying to be a therapist, which is something that she decided on last season.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like taking steps to do it. The only detriment to her case for my thing was like that rice pudding scene where she's like pissed off at Hannah.
Yep.
But she has a right to be pissed off at Hannah because she was like, I want to study, you guys. And then Hannah drags her down with her.
No, that's not that. She doesn't have the right. That's not. The thing is, I don't like when people get mad at someone for a supposed thing that's bothering them, but it's really just because she wants to hook up with Adam and her friendship with Hannah is holding her back. She doesn't. It's not about the studying. It's but
she can definitely say it was about the studying.
I know, but that's a horrible thing to do. Like I hate that kind of trait because I always can see through it, and Hannah sees through it, and she doesn't see through anything normally, and she sees through that. She knows it's not about studying. That said, I'm okay with that. I'm not going to say that knocks her all the way down the rungs of.
Yeah, she's definitely not.
Yeah,
it's crazy that she's not a basement dweller anymore because she's been kind of fucking likable this season. And as much as I didn't want it to happen, her and Adam seems like it's working, and it's like they're both the right kind of weird for each other. Yeah. So she takes the cake for me. Where are you at, Vance? What's your likability rankings for the gals?
I'm gonna say I'm gonna stick with what you have.
Okay.
You brought up some good points with Shoshanna. To put her down a little lower. Like standing up someone right now, she's standing up two guys that both seem to like her and that both have no flaws that we've seen.
Yeah.
And I just wish they would have handled her wanting to come back better. Because when she stayed, we were like, oh wow, she is thriving in Japan. She seems to really like it here. And I was like, how are they gonna get her back to New York? And then it's like, oh no, she just all of a sudden hates it here now. And I'm like, wait, what? Like, you were just loving it. Like, there's nothing that. I mean, the only thing that changes her job is different. That's the only thing that changed. Like, she was there long enough to know the culture. Change it though.
That could really fuck with how much you enjoy a place.
Yes, but I mean, we need to like see that. That's her day. Like it's just like seeing her go on a fun tour and show someone else why this place is great and them agree. Just didn't for me make it seem like it made it seem like when she started crying, were you like, what the hell? Like
I was. I was like, I thought it was just going to be about the virginity thing. Yeah, but it's like a whole like I hate my life.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, what in this awesome day was like? I hate my life. You just learned to do a language and everything. And you can leave. You can leave. Like no one's holding you there. That's the thing. I didn't get her complaint. Like just go home.
Yeah. She might. I don't know, man. Yeah.
But and Marnie, I mean, for that reason, I could maybe put Shoshanna.
That's what I was gonna say. I could see somebody flipping those two at the bottom, and I'd be okay with it. Yeah, I could see the reasons behind it.
Because Marnie doesn't do enough. Like, and she's not in a lot of this stuff either.
Yeah. Do you think? Yeah, I think just all of the stuff that we see of Shoshanna. Yeah, I don't know. She was having a good time in Japan, but then she cheated on Scott and stood him up. I don't know. I could see her being in the basement.
Yeah, I'm going to put her in the basement. I'm going to put Marnie up because, one, as much as she's enabling her husband, Desi, now, like, she went through the marriage. She's been actually kind of nice to Hannah throughout most of this for their interactions. And her trying to see Desi eye to eye is something that should be somewhat commended, even though it's like not great. But at least for Marnie, she's trying to be a little like meeting in the middle, like kind of like consolidate. Like she has to now. Like they're in it, so that's the choice.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm with you now.
Yeah.
I think Shoshanna's in the basement.
Yeah. And the basement here is still not like deep. It's just
It's not
floor.
like
yeah.
old Jessa deep basement. Like this is like,
Yeah.
All right, you're just like not very likable right now.
And I'll say this for Jessa, you got to really commend her for showing some control and not just immediately hooking up with Adam.
Yeah.
Like, granted, they masturbated next to each other, which is already like, I think that was it. But like, at least she was still trying to say, hey, no. Like after they watched him on TV and she's like, I'm leaving. Like she was trying her hardest. And for her, like that's pretty good. That's pretty good for her.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's weird to say she's number one.
Yeah.
She's number one likable. And Shoshanna is number 4. Like, what a twist.
This show, man. This show has it all.
Yeah. And so that is the mid-season likability ranking. That's where everybody stands in our eyes. We got Jess up top, Hannah second, third is Marnie, fourth is Shoshanna. On the dude side, we got Ray, Elijah, Adam, Fran, and Desi. If Desi finds a way to turn this around, I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
I'd be very shocked. But that guy just sucks. Like, even if he does likable things, I just hate him. Can't even take my fucking tank top off without you. Fucking loser.
What a character, man. What a character.
Yeah. All right. You want to hear the title of the next episode?
Yep.
All right. Next episode, episode 48, season 5, episode 6 is titled The Panic in Central Park.
I don't know. I was gonna say like some Ray stuff with his councilman, but like he's not in Central Park. He's in Brooklyn. He doesn't have anything to do with Manhattan.
Yeah, I have no idea what this could be. What if this show takes like a really dark turn and it's like the Central Park 5 something?
Oh God. I think we would officially have to just like somehow stop watching the show. Like,
yeah, we'd be like, dude, checking out here.
It would just be like an apology to the listeners that we're not going to finish. Thank you all for listening to Boys Watching Girls.
This has been it. I know that there's a season and a half left, but we're not doing it
The
anymore.
show canceled us.
All right. Well, stay tuned for the next episode of Boys Watching Girls, where we talk about the panic in Central Park. See you guys.
Oh, I'm sorry. He came in you.
What am I gonna tell my parents?
What the fuck am I gonna tell Coach? He'll never let me borrow his car again. I'm gonna lose my scholarship. I can't pay for the doctor's fees.